to do some shopping. Let's do some shopping. So we were wondering where to go, what to shop. So Mara was already thinking, all right, we'll get some wooden frames for Baba's pictures. They make these mahogany things. Suddenly, as we were going, there was a big sign on one of the shops, and the sign of the shop was, the name of the shop was Suffering Moses. Suffering Moses. And Baba looked at that, and he stood right there and silently laughing so hard. He said, come, let's go in here. Look at that, Suffering Moses. So we went, and that's where we did our shopping. Like one day when Baba was seated here, and the morning mail was being read out by Eruch as usual, and this letter that he was reading out was from a boy, a Jewish family who had been befriended by my twin nephews, my brother Beram and his family in Pune and Baba House. They'd become friends with this Jewish family and told about Baba. They would come into Baba's room. So they revered Baba very much. So one of the boys wrote this letter to Baba, and he said in his letter to Baba, you know, I'm trying so hard to find a job, but I can't find a job. I've been to this place and I've been to that place, and I'm desperate. You see, obviously, one of the twin nephews said, write to Baba. And I don't know what to do. And Baba was listening, not very interestedly, at least not seemingly very interested. And at the end of the letter, he said to Eruch, what's the name of the boy? What's the name? And Eruch read the name. He said, Moses. And Baba was so delighted at that. And Baba's sign for Moses was like this, a long beard, you know, a very long beard. Baba laughed. He said, Moses, that young boy, Moses? All right, give it. 2 days later came a letter, I got a good job. Another recollection of the word Moses reminds me when we were in Cannes in 1936. In Cannes in France, and we was to play charades in the evening, and we would be teams. And one of the biggest things about the charades was dressing up, not just guessing the word, either it was the title of a book or any word or something, but we would dress up. So Baba was also playing in that charades, and there were two teams, and Baba was in Norina's team. Baba, Norina, and some of the others were one side, and Mera, myself, and some of the others made the other team. So now it was Baba's turn to come in, and Baba came on the stage, as we might say, and we were looking on, having to guess the word, and there was Baba with a big long beard. Norina had this beautiful Italian lace, black, and she so arranged it on Baba to make it look like a long black beard. And Baba was Moses, you see. Only I could never imagine a Moses with such twinkling eyes, you know. And he was really enjoying it, you know. He came along, sort of, look at me, Moses. We forgot to look for the word. We were just so delighted to see Baba.
I can tell you something else about Tim Wadley. She mentioned Tim and Diana.
Yes.
Because in our town, our city, Christchurch, is the American Deep Freeze base, Operation Deep Freeze, which is the Antarctic base.
Yes.
So there are at times 1,000 Americans based there just for a very short time before they airlift them down into the Antarctic.
Uh-huh.
And this was really connected with Bart Flick. Because Bart was... It was an incredible story how Bart called on. I'll tell you the story because it's so amazing. My wife and I had just a, you know how in marriages you have little arguments and things. It seemed to me very trivial. But when I came home that Friday night from work, there was a note on the kitchen table saying, I've taken the two girls, our girls, the three girls, and we're going away for a week to a place I knew of. We'd been there before. 80 miles away.
Turn.
This place was 80 miles from where we lived, from the city of Christchurch. And I felt all of a sudden all hollow inside. Now, what on earth has happened, you know, gosh. And there was the weekend ahead of me, and it was a very, very hot day in the evening, and I was feeling in this worried, sort of bewildered state. The family gone, and I looked forward to my weekends with the family. And I didn't have to wait very long before my neighbour, who was very close, the house next door, came in and said, "Oh," she said, "Anthony," she said, "there's a very nice, charming American here who's been looking for you. He's an officer, a naval officer, and he's gone back to the base, I think." So I rushed in. I thought this was very exciting. She didn't say any more than that, and I rang the base. She gave me his name because he'd told her his name. So I rang the base and said, "Is Lieutenant Flick there?" "No," they said, he's out somewhere. So that was no good. But I didn't have to wait very long either, because shortly there was another knock on the door, and I opened the door, and there was Bart, boing. And somehow you have this intuitive flash. I just thought, I know Bart. I know him so well. I just felt I knew him. He was just completely... I didn't know anything about him at that stage, but I just felt I knew him. And do you know what? He stayed with me in fact, my wife was away for a week. He stayed with me that week. And all of a sudden the house was full again. And he said he had got my name from the Awakener magazine. There were two things he wanted to do when he was in New Zealand. One was to visit me, and the other was to he'd heard about a very beautiful place, 80 miles distant from Christchurch, where all the Americans in the base had to go. And this happened to be the place my wife had gone to. Coincidence number 2.
No.
Yes. And so we had this wonderful week with Bart, discussing Barbara and all sorts of interesting allied topics. And it would have been absolutely no good if the family had been there, because they're not interested, and we couldn't have discussed these things. The conversation would have been diverted, continuously diverted. So what we decided, right, we'd fulfill his second obligation by driving him up to Hanmer Springs, and we'd bring the family back in the car, all of us together, which we did. So Bart saw what he wanted to there, and he came back, and the family just took to him. They just loved him, all of them, every one of them. And he stayed another 3 days with all the family there, and it was a happy reunion. But at this time, what they do at the base is they send the men down for 3 months for general just acclimatization in Antarctica, because it's very trying conditions. They then bring them back for assessment for 2 weeks, for with psychologists and people to see how they've fared under these conditions. And then if they're all right, they send them back again for the rest of the year, 9 months then. And this was Bart's 2 weeks away. This was his intermediate period that he came to us. So he then went back to the base. In the meantime, he said, "Is there anything I can do for your Baba work here?" And he said, "What about a tape recorder?" I said, "Gosh, wow, that would be marvelous." So he suddenly came back one evening with this great big reel-to-reel tape recorder and said, "Here, this is for the Baba work here. And is there anything else you need?" he said. Because they can get them so cheaply at the base, all duty-free and half the price of anywhere else anyway. And he said, "Would you like a projector? Have you got films and things?" So he bought me a projector the second time I have, and I've still got it. It's perfect. And this is what we show our Baba films on. But he went down there, and I was writing to Jal at the time in Pune, and Jal was writing back saying how this was the last continent on Earth to receive Baba's love and name. And he was very excited. We had this sort of exchange of letters at the time. Now Bart went down there all alone, armed. I gave him a whole lot of Baba books, all the Baba books there were, to take down to the base and to put into the Antarctic base library there, because these men are cooped up for a long time. And we wondered whether there'd be any feedback, but to date, and that was 10 years ago now, there's been no feedback. No one has contacted me since, because it had my stamp in the back of the books where to contact me. But while he was down there, he met Tim, who was also in the Navy, the American Navy, and another chap from, I can't remember where he was actually. I haven't heard from him since. But Tim and Bart got very friendly, and Tim's love for Baba grew very rapidly down there. And they came back when they finally came back to be released from the Navy. They stayed 3 months in New Zealand in a flat just within stone's throw of our house, Tim and Bart. They stayed in this, and then they bought motorcycles and they travelled all over New Zealand. They saw the country. But Tim said, before I go back, I must see Australia. So I think Bart went with him, I'm not sure, perhaps Francis can remember. But Tim went over to Australia and fell in love immediately with Diana, who had just divorced from Richard Lockwood. And that's how it started. And that's how that bond started there. And now Tim and Di are firm in Baba's love.
We heard from Tim the story of how when he was at the base in the Navy, naval base, the others found him interested in metaphysical matters, and they told him there was this officer. You should talk to this particular officer. He's up on that sort of thing. And he didn't feel like going up to the officer just saying that. But one day when they were walking together, he asked something on the subject. And it was Bart, of course. And Bart said, well, why not come over to my room sometime and we'll talk. And so he went at the appointed time and was amazed to find this man who hadn't responded before to his questions, simply said, come over to my place. And there in that region, where there's just ice in the cold region, there in his place, in his shack, he found nothing but Baba pictures all around. Every time he said, who's that? It was Meher Baba. Who's that? It's Meher Baba. And filled with Baba books and Baba tapes. It was a center, a Baba center in itself, out in that ice and place. And then he told about Baba, and of course they met very much more often. And from there, they dialed. You can phone. You can phone
anywhere in the world.
Anywhere in the world. So they phoned the States, and there he heard this talk by Henry Cashauti and Kitty Davy. One of the tapes they heard were the voices of that Bart had brought with him. So they said, all right, let's phone them.
Yes, that's right. They borrowed my recordings, which I had some lovely talks of those two.
Yes. So then they phoned Henry Cashauti, but then you had to get through an operator. And they said, well, the judge may or may not, I don't know. And he said, please, when you phone that person, that somebody from Antarctica is calling, say Jai Baba. And the operator did. She couldn't understand. And I think Henry Cashauti said, this is as far as I remember. Henry Cashauti said, well, she said, all the way from there is Jai Baba. Then he talked. We'll make Tim talk again this time. But I didn't know that other sequence of it. It's very nice to know.
Amazing, all these threads interconnecting.
Yes,
like gossamer in the early morning when when the dew is lying on the cobwebs, the whole world is really linked by these little cobwebs when we can't see them unless there's something on them, unless they come from our vision. But really, that's how I feel. We're all linked, really, completely one, really.
The thing is that the beauty of it all is, as you said, the Antarctica. At that time, Diana Snow was here.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, and she was hearing all this episode, of happenings in Antarctica. That Bart was there, and Tim came to know of Baba there, and all that sort of thing. So she got enthused about it and says, "What do you say about?" I said, "See how in Antarctica we hear of Baba. We should have a post there in Arctic region also." And then she comes out with that, and she had a story about it. From the Arctic region, there was a program on, I think, Christmas or New Year, where her daughter, who was married to a military officer, who were posted there, you see, and she was a coordinator of a program or something like that. And she gave a live program, and on that she said about Baba. Baba's picture was put and all that. Whole thing was broadcast from an Arctic region on Christmas Day or on the New Year, I forget now. We should have some Australian here, or Diana Did you hear about it?
No.
Yeah. And then, of course, we came across, you see, while all this was happening, we came across Peter Davis, who was here. Yeah. They came across Baba there in the Himalayas, Mount Everest. Yeah. They happened to hear of Baba there. And while we were talking about, when they were talking about it here, what happened was that there was one person who was, what was Nobato?
Antonio?
No, Noberto. Noberto, who was a diver or so. They would go deep sea diving. There are people who are employed for such things. So he overheard these stories, and he sent from some place, you see, in Florida or somewhere, you see, there are these submarine booths, garages, just as you have garages, motor garages. So naturally submarines have to be garaged somewhere at the bottom of the sea, And there, these divers one day happened to go into a certain, I forget the name they called it, I don't know, coves or something like that, submarine coves. And what to his surprise, this diver sees a big poster of Baba, properly framed, watertight, and they sent us a picture also at the bottom of the sea. Yeah. Where is that picture, Bala sir? Do you remember that?
I remember the story, but not the picture.
Yeah, it is here somewhere they sent us. It must be somewhere lying somewhere. Such things are there. And then what happened was that, we were talking about these things. So our Hermes, so he got that fantastic idea. He went to the Amazon, basis, and he came across a head of the headhunters. And somehow or other he befriended him. And and then he sent from there to me a headhunter's picture displaying Baba's locket, you see.
Very happy to have this color.
Yeah, displaying it, you see, he was standing there.
So that was in Puerto Rico.
That was Puerto Rico.
First one. Amazon is of course in North America.
So such things are really very
But I love
humorous,
Tim Wolflike's comment when he found Baba in the Arctic regions, in the icy regions. He said, Baba set my heart on fire in the middle of a range of ice. It was so cold, and he said, I was going about, my heart aglow. And now Tasmania. We have touched Tasmania. You see, only places where there are Baba lovers come on our map. And now Tasmania's on the map. Goosey gander? Not gander. Bowling. I used to call her Goosey gander, yes. Goosey and David.
I was telling you yesterday, that's a remarkable coincidence too.
Yes.
How I met David.
Yes. Say, tell.
Well, that was another really incredible thing.
You met him in Tasmania?
It was incredible. It's just one of these little things. It's absolutely incredible.
Really, it's an amazing story.
I would drive from my home into town, which is about 9 miles away, every day, and I take the same route, and I leave at about 8:30, 8:15, something like that. And on this particular day, I drove. I've got down a straight run for about half a mile, and then a right-angle turn, and then I go a long way, another mile, absolutely straight. And I came round the corner, and just as I got round the corner, standing on the footpath about 50 yards in front of me was a man. And he hadn't got his thumb out, but something gave me the impression that he wanted a lift. So I pulled up to the curb and I wound the window down and I said, are you looking for a lift? He said, yes, I'd be very grateful for one actually, I'm going into town. And he got into the car and shut the door, and almost instantly saw my Baba button on the dashboard of the car. And he said, wow, he said, are you a Baba lover, a Baba follower? And I said, yes. He said, well, isn't that a coincidence? He said, my girlfriend in Australia is. I was amazed. I mean, if I hear of anything like, that was a lovely thing to hear. So I immediately actually wrote to Gussie, that was Gussie, and this was David. And he said, at this stage, I'm not a Baba lover. He said, I think sometime I will go to India, but he said, I'm not a Baba lover. I am a Quaker, he said, and I'm using Quakerism as my groundwork. And I said, we had a long chat going in, and he told me that he was in New Zealand. He'd just arrived the day before. Now, I told Mani yesterday that if he'd been standing at the back of the footpath instead of the front of the footpath, I wouldn't have stopped, because he wouldn't have looked as if he wanted to lift.
Yeah.
And if I'd come past 30 seconds later, he wouldn't have come out of the gate of the house that he was living in. So these things just coincide like that. He was in New Zealand for one specific purpose, he told me. This is what he said. I'm here to assess the spiritual for a spiritual assessment of what's going on in New Zealand. I can't remember his exact words. This was he said. He was very interested in what was going on. And he was leaving Christchurch the day after, tomorrow, and I just had this brief ride in with him, and I said, well, please do contact me when you come back, somehow. He was coming back in about 2 weeks. And this he did. He rang to say he'd arrived back. He would like to see me, but he hadn't got much time. He was flying to Australia later that afternoon, and the only time we could have was lunch together. So we had lunch together, during which time I discovered, I had said to him in the car ride, and I said, well, you must be looking for addresses. Would you like some Burma addresses in the North Island? Because he was going immediately to fly to the North Island of New Zealand. He was leaving the South Island where I live and flying to the North Island, and that's where he was doing his work. So I said, I can give you some addresses if you like. No, he said, I don't want any addresses. I've got enough contact addresses of all different groups and people, not Baba people at all, but other religious groups. So I left it at that. But when he came back, he told me that he had come into contact with some Baba lovers there, in fact 2 lots in Auckland, and we had a jolly good chat, and said farewell. And this time I told him I'd written to Gussie, and I had a lovely letter from Gussie back. They weren't married at this stage, and within a few months they were over in England, living in England, and they married in Oceanic. And the next thing that happened, as far as I'm concerned, was I was here when? Was it 76 or 78? No, 78, I think. And who should be here but Gussie and David? I didn't know they would be here. It's another of those amazing connections.
Recordings made on October 4th, 1981 ends here. Mandali Hall, Mirazad, October 8th, 1981.
1948.
48.
Yeah.
Baba opened with key, some silver
Yeah,
key
that was 48.
48.
Yeah.
Oh.
And 49, Baba left everything and went away.
Yes, new life.
Yeah.
Are we to put the switch there, that plug?
Yeah, put it. I'll put it. Wait.
See, it was referring to some Puranic day. What is that? Is it Rama's avatar or if I remember?
He didn't, did he?
Yes,
He did.
while doing the prayers, 5 prayers, 5 expounding Upasani Maharaj, Tajuddin Baba, Narayan Maharaj, in the name of taking the name of the masters, he offered prayers. And then the significance of dropping the alphabetical board also, he has said, it seems, the signifies. One is Rama killed Ravana, and one Pandavas were doing Ajnat was 14 years. At the time of 1 year, they dropped the clothes on a tree. That was the day they were dropping the body. And Sai Baba dropped the body on 7th October. That is Vijayadashmi day. And like that, there are
That means
reasons
On that day,
in that year,
on 7 there must be a Dasara.
Dasara.
And that's why this all things coming.
Because these were noted down, and these points were given in Avatar Meher, we have noted down. And prayer dictated by Baba.
But in that prayer there is no mention about that.
And you only sent to me that prayer.
Where is that?
It's all right.
I did not bring it.
Where is the proof?
I sent
Where is
you
the proof?
Your own handwriting. Your own handwriting. Your own handwriting.
Really?
Once I asked in 1956 or 57, Then you sent me the importance, the prayer dictated by Baba, those 5 masters, how you did and how. And you all did on behalf of Baba, those 5 masters.
Good. So just as they discarded this, so he discarded the board. They dropped the body. So he dropped the body of the silence.
The body of the silence.
Yeah, this is something new that we are. These people always bring something new for us.
Because our minds are such, we forget many things. We have to renew. Yes. Replenish with new thoughts.
Sai Baba dropped his body at Dasra.
Yeah.
And the Pandavas, you see, they just put away their clothes and went into Ajnatwas. That is dropping of the clothes. And the third is killing of Ravana.
So it's all important day. Today is it's a day of victory, you mean to say.
And also he prayed those, extolled those, his 5 perfect masters. In the name of uttering those 5 perfect masters names, now I am dropping the bow. Like that he said.
Discarding.
Anyway, after seeing that Avatar Meher, we will write to you again. What
I sent your own note to you. Your own note.
దాంట్లో
ఆయన ఇచ్చారు నాకు రాసి
No, it's right.
కాదని ప్రేయర్ ఉంది సరేనండి దానికి నేను చెప్తా ఈ డే ఫలాని
thing is-
దాంట్లో రాశారా అంటున్నాను అది ఆయన అనేది ఏంటి దానికి చెప్పుకున్నాను
What is that? What did he say?
No.
I remember only the prayer.
You have written it. I am telling he has written only the
Prayer.
not the other things.
That's what I'm saying. It's information good. We are happy to hear this.
But anyway,
that it has been equated to this sort of thing. But I don't remember having.
From some source, they must have printed in Avatar Meher. Therefore, after looking into it, we'll let you know. What
No, but it might be the editorial notes. You see, that's the thing.
That's what I said.
Yeah, because you people are pandits. We are illiterate people. Yeah, so that's why it is.
We'll let you know.
Literately illiterate.
Yeah. No, but we don't know any intricacies of what you call dharma. Although we hold on to dharma, but we don't know. It is left to the pandits. You see. Yeah. No, but it's good to know. We are happy to hear this, equating these things. You see. It is significant. It is significant that he chose that day to discard the board. Just as so many other things were discarded, you see.
I have a thought to tell you.
Yeah.
That there must be some group of people or some people too find out, coordinate the events that took place in the life of Baba, how it reflected in the world. For instance, he has given food for the poor.
Yeah.
He has started at a certain point. Thereon we find all over the world the crops going up, giving us sumptuous food and all these things. In the same way, leprosy is treated. But of course, when Christ was there, he has treated, and somehow, probably it must have went away, and he has again created that thing. What I find to my little knowledge, that later on, so many leper asylums have been started in India itself. Like that. And once he has made the must to push them up, the whole world is thinking about God and godliness. It is more perceptible now than some years back.
That's true. That's true.
Yes.
Likewise, Gandhiji has come in contact with him. The Harjan movement has come in.
Yeah.
Is it not? So, prior to that, Arjan, Baba has put 1926, or when was the ashram put here?
1923, 24.
Therefore, it is only afterwards this national movement has come in, Gandhiji has come in, he has taken up the cause. He is an instrument of it. And Baba has started it as a as an indication.
Baba initiates and then it's picked up by the world.
Therefore, all these things, this is a time when all these things are coordinated and told to the world.
It's a good idea. When are you taking up that?
Myself? My God.
It's a good idea. Balaji? Yeah. Oh, glimpses number 3 is coming now after...
Today I have already requested Manikala Rao that when people come,
Yeah.
they should better tell us about Baba's second visit to Andhra especially, because I'm interested in that. And it will also be recorded. John perhaps, John Connor also may come.
Yeah.
Or Meherlar also, that will be a new thing. So in the stories that he told us last when we were sitting outside, which I had totally forgotten, and so that also
Will be revived.
will be revived.
Good idea.
Yeah.
How far have you come in your glimpses now? It has covered the tour.
The first Andhra visit.
First Andhra visit is in what, volume 3?
Yeah,
You have covered it.
yeah, they have sent me material.
I hope he has not exaggerated. When did you first hear of Baba?
62, sir.
62.
Just
You came for East-West gathering?
No.
No, after that.
After East-West gathering. That too through a library book.
Oh.
I have not been informed, or not I have seen the photo, or not even heard. Just while going to a library book, I have
You,
come in contact.
Which book was that?
This Telugu life,
Yeah,
Baba's life in Telugu,
By
done by
Jagannath.
53 by Yellapantula Jagannathan, Kakinada.
Perfect master translation.
Published by Avatar Meher Center.
Andhra Center.
Simply after going
Life is
through that, he has not done it. చెప్పండి, మీ experience.
then you came to Baba or not? You haven't.
63.
63 you
63
did
May
come.
I came.
You
You are
came.
there.
That's good.
65 ఇచ్చారా?
65.
So what was your first impression when you saw Baba? When you saw Baba in Pune?
I am first of all, while going through that book, I did not find anything wrong. First of all, if anything wrong, I am unable to find out. But I could not accept that Baba saying that I am Ishwar. We don't know what is Ishwar, but we cannot accept. So, after reading that book, complete book, without my consciousness, my knowing it, Baba is in my mind throughout the 24 hours. Without my wish, Baba is in my mind. Like that, some 3 months or 4 months, I passed away. But I could not forget. Whatever work I am doing, wherever I am, Baba is in my mind.
Was it the name or the form?
Meher Baba.
Yeah.
Name, Meher Baba. Name and form also, because I have seen the photo.
Yeah.
But name is
More predominant.
Constant ringing.
wherever I go, any village, any place, any field or anything.
What was your work?
At the time I am more a clerk.
Yeah.
Baba is in my mind. I am just going in the main bazaar for Nasrawpet. There I have seen one board, one banner, Avatar Meher Baba, Nasrawpet Center.
Yeah.
So with my understanding of Baba, with what little understanding I had, by reading the book, I thought I can approach. No, without any invitation or anybody. I am a stranger to them. They too are strangers to me. I entered, and at the time, fortunately, the weekly meeting is going on. This happened after 4 months after reading the book. So I simply sat there. After they 1 hour asked me who I am. After the meeting is over, then Mr. Sundar Sivarao, fire, that man, asked me about me. I told. And within 1 month or so,
or 1 month or 1.5 months, I do not exactly remember, Baba's darshan is there in 63. So they thought they were planning to go to the Baba's darshan in Pune. Are you willing to come? Yes, I am willing to come, I told them. But I am very, economically I am very in a worst position. I am unable to maintain. Anyhow, but a word came from my mouth, I will also come. So on the day of journey, we have to meet in the house of Mr. K.P. Sharma, station master.
Yeah.
That is at 10 o'clock, he told us to come at 10 o'clock in the night, so that by morning 4:30 or so, 4 o'clock, there is a train. We will sleep in his house, and morning itself we will wake up and go through his house.
How many of you were there?
Sir, about at the time, about 25, 20 like that. So it is 7 p.m. I am not having even a single NP, literally. So I do not know who
means paisa, cent.
No, even cent.
Naya paisa.
I do not know whom I have to approach. But I think I have to go that I am thinking. I am going, I feel shy of asking loan. Anyhow, I dared. Just a person who is very little acquainted with me, I asked him, sir, I want to go, I want 50 rupees. I will return you afterwards. He immediately gave the 50 rupees to me. So at the time, the fare is some 23-45 NP from Narsapeta by Guntakal, like that route. So the fare itself, to and fro, for me, single journey, to and fro, it will cost 47 and odd. So 250 rupees something like left. Still I am prepared to go. I thought if we are saying about weekdays or something like that, so we may request some 30 or 40 rupees. Let me ask somebody. Then incidentally, I do not know very much with the gentleman. I am passing in the street. Some person, can I ask that man? So I entered into his house. I asked him.
The same day?
Same day, because not even same day, within half an hour or so, something like that. It is already 7:30 at the time. 10 o'clock I must reach his house. So, I went to the gentleman. I told him, sir, I am going.
But where are you going? Did you tell them?
Yes, I told him. I told him. I have to go. I request some money, sir. How much you want? I say, kindly give me 50 rupees. You 50 rupees will not suffice. You take 80 minimum, because he told me. So this 80 plus 50 is now 130. At about 8 p.m. I have come to my house. I told my mother I am going to see Meher Baba for the darshan. My mother told me I will also come. So I thought 90 rupees, 91 rupees fares. Some 40 rupees, or let us adjust. Let us. So all right, you also come. She prepared something, some tamarind rice, bath, something like that. And by 10 o'clock we are in Miss Sharma's house. Was there. So my going to Baba is because Baba is telling emphatically that he is God. So if Meher Baba is God, let us see. He is telling God, do not know what God is. I have got some elementary ideas. You cannot know. Let me see God. If he is a God. So with that idea I have gone to Meher Baba. But seeing Meher Baba, I came, so many gods, what we remember previously came to my mind. Rama came, Krishna came. But who is Meher Baba? Is he Rama or Krishna? What is? Then Meher Baba seen to me and told that like this he gestured and told this entire universe, what you call, there is only one thing, and I am that. And in that flash I have seen Shiva in the Meher Baba. As a devotee, I am a devotee of Shiva. So like that my first contact with Meher Baba.
Wonderful.
How long you stayed in Pune?
Some 3 days or something like that, successive days. 2 days that she has given. Okay.
And your mother must be happy.
Yes. She's happy, and she came to sleep after some time. And she came outside and slept. She's happy. She believed 100%. I believed. Before seeing Meher Baba also, opinion is there, formed in my mind. Meher Baba saying is God. He will be definitely God. Let me see God.
You are telling that you are a Shiva Bhakta and all that.
Shiva Bhakta means, I used to go to Shiva temple. I have got special
so
devotion.
So that reminds me about the letter that we received. Do you all know that? What happened? It's a very peculiar thing that has happened.
I see.
In Andhra. Yeah. I'm going to give information about people in Andhra now.
At that time you are translating, but Baba's gestures. Some gentleman is sitting by my side. He wants to go to Pandharpur. He is telling to some Sundar Sivara or something like that, Sharma. Baba's gestures you have translated. Foolish fellows thinks that God is somewhere, whereas he is everywhere, but they cannot find him anywhere. While the real form of God has been descended here. Like that, I still remember that saying. You are translating. I could not note, of course, but this is still I remember.
Still there.
Tell me some one or two.
Currently, idunde Nigam brother adi dan peru emantaru Mehavana.
Maristana.
Very correct.
What is it? Tell me in English.
See, Nigam's brother was on a hillock
Yeah.
sometimes.
Yeah.
We went there, saw there. I went there.
What is that place?
But I was not particular about this god or that god in those days, even prior to that.
That is what you are saying is Meher Astana.
Maristana or Maheva? Which is correct?
That is Mehwa.
Maheva.
The place is known as Meher Astana. Astana means threshold.
Correct. A hut has been built.
Yeah, that is Mehwa. In Mehwa village, there is the place called Meher Astana. Just as in Pipalgaon, there is Meherazad. Just like that.
So I went there, but a small photo of Baba was there. Just like that. I just bowed down. At that time, I saw Shiva with this thing, such a big form. But I don't know. I never go to the temple even previously also. It was not that our this thing. But I was not attached to Shiva or anything of that. But somehow I saw that. Only at one time. Once.
So here is another thing you see about something very strange. You see, it is from Maslipatam. It is being written. So I'll read out the letter that came from Nageshwar Rao Naidu. You all know Nageshwar Rao Naidu?
Yeah.
Huh? Yeah. Will you read it? I read it, but my eyesight is failing. You read it. He reads very well.
I need glasses too.
Okay, then you read it. Come on now. Oh, Surya Narayan. But you read it. Yeah. He's a steno, no?
Steno.
Francis, this is a very unique thing that has happened in Andhra. A letter had come. Which date is that?
This letter is 1/12/80.
Yeah,
1st
recent.
December 80. She is from Rustumbada Maslipatam. Letter from C. Nageswar Rao Naidu. He is ex-additional public prosecutor. The letter is like this. Dear esteemed brother Mr. Eruch, Jai Baba to you and members of Mandali. I am very glad to inform you how Baba gave darshan today at 8:30 a.m. to a friend of mine by name Jakkula Subramanyam, resident of a suburban village, Padana, which is 5 miles from Maslipatam. Beloved Baba told him that he is not different from Lord Shiva, whom my friend was worshipping at that time. This gentleman is a bachelor, nearly 50 years old, an archaka by profession, a strong devotee of Lord Shiva, and his consort Parvati Devi, otherwise called as Mother Shakti or Kali. This day is an auspicious day to us Andhras. We observe fast at daytime, being Kartika month Ekadasi Monday, and worship Lord Shiva of Kedarnath peak of Himalaya mountains after nightfall. After finishing daily morning japam, he is expected to come to me at Maslipatam by 9 a.m. to perform Rudrabhishekam together with me in Shiva's temple. Rudrabhishekam means worshipping Shiva Lingam with water. He completed his daily morning puja to Shiva Lingam in the temple which he himself constructed by the side of his residence. Immediately after completion of Shivalinga puja, by about 8:30 am, he felt that he saw two human feet standing on the head of Shivalingam that he was worshipping then. Struck by a feeling of anger, why his Lord be humiliated by being trampled by human feet, he lifted his head. Lo, he saw beloved Baba in human form standing on that little Shivalingam and told him that he, within brackets Baba, was not different from Shiva, whom my friend has been worshipping all these years. This is Baba's second darshan to him within the last 15 days. My friend has seen beloved Baba 16 years ago in Bombay. Then he could not realize that Baba is the avatar of the age, since he was not bestowed with any bliss or comfort on Baba's contact, which was very general to almost all the Baba lovers. In his view, beloved Baba was only a living saint all these years thereafter. As usual, he was daily worshipping Lord Shiva and his consort Shakti or Devi. A month ago, my friend asked me Baba's photo so that he can meditate or perform dhyana on beloved Baba also, along with Shiva and Devi, for 10 consecutive nights in this Kartika month. The photo of beloved Baba sitting in a sofa was blessed by his touch in 1964 in Guru Prasad Pune was given by me. He did japam before beloved Baba for 10 nights, and on the 11th night by 11 pm he concluded Baba's japa.
So you know what I told Rick Chapman? This time he came. I said, Rick, I can't tell him that you should go. I said, Rick, you are now married. You have got your wife now. Cheryl has not seen Baba world. Why don't you take her round once to Andhra and all that? So they are trying to think about it now. Maybe next time when they come, they'll make a tour there. They'll come.
I made a request to him. He said, I'll try to.
Yeah. So likewise, time and again I've been telling Bill to go there. Go make it a point to go there and all that sort of thing.